year, basically around this time of year, between November, late October to early December, there's a reduction in the number of flowers that we see in the environment. So the less flowers in the environment, less plants blooming, means there's less nectar for the bees to feed on. As a result, the bees are hungry and they're going to go for any sort of sweet stuff that they can find anywhere. That might be in your backyard, that might be at the schools, it might be at a restaurant that's serving sweet drinks. They're going to go and look for food because they want to survive. It's like a man that's broke, he's going to find a way to make money. Right now we're heading into middle of December, so that is expected to reduce. We won't have as much incidence of interaction at the schools with the bees because there are going to be more flowers coming back in, what we call a flow. A dearth is when there's not many flowers, and a flow is when there's plenty of flowers. A flow is what produces honey. So aside from that, this has been a pattern over the last 4 or 5 years from my beekeeping experience. I've gone different places, restaurants, schools, and so on, and had to deal with this problem. There are 2 ways of dealing with it that I've used. One is simply removal of the bees from the location, which is straightforward, but you cannot move all the bees within 2 miles of your location. So it doesn't work as well as my second option, which is providing supplemental feed for the bees. Normally I do that with just a bucket with some syrup in it, and the bees will go for that syrup instead of coming to your drinks or to your garbage can that has any sweets and snacks or cafeteria or whatnot.
So you could explain to me why this year we've seen an increase in bees at the schools or at the different establishments that you mentioned before,
So
compared to other years?
Compared with previous years where we would have only gotten like 3 or 4 calls about this issue, this year there has been an explosion of those calls, an explosion of those interactions. One is the constant rains, as has been mentioned by the Minister of Agriculture. Our rain pattern has been regular, which is good for plants, but it affects the number of blossoms. The blossoms drop off. The quality of the nectar, with so much water, the quality of nectar is not as good, it's not as sweet, so it doesn't provide as much energy for the bees. So those 2 things, rainfall, reduced flowers, and we have a really good population of bees in Barbados, so they need to find food wherever they can.
Okay, so as you said, we could expect to see a decrease now in the
Yes.
bees, the sightings.
Those sightings and those interactions, conflicts, are going to reduce as of this month. It might come back up like late March into April, because the monkeys usually create a problem at that time as well when there's very little food. And I liken this interaction with the bees to the monkey problems that farmers have around March next year as usual.
Okay, so just to be clear, this is nothing unusual.
This is nothing unusual. It's just that this year there has been a higher interaction. There's been a higher interaction between bees and people because the bees are hungrier than usual.